Good morning. Charles Jackson Leadership Lecture Series that occurs the first Thursday of every month. It's a series of lectures to gain exposure for all of us in different pieces of leadership and leadership development, and this was the idea of the Alumni Board of Managers. So it's our pleasure to be here. Today we're going to have Phillips as our speaker. Kate is the former president of ATEK Companies and remains active as their co-owner and member of their board of directors. She joined ATEK in 2001 as the company's first non-family member in the president's position. In that leadership role, Kate helped the company realize it was an ideal fit for the medical device industry and helped the company reinvent itself. The company provides electromechanical medical devices, manufacturing solutions, and contract manufacturing, specializing in new product development, prototyping, and implementation. Kate currently serves as chair of Doherty College's Board of Trustees. She also serves on the board of directors for Vention Medical and Michael C. Fina. She grew up in a rural farm in Oklahoma where she was an avid basketball player. Please join me in welcoming Kate Phillips.
Well, good morning, and thank you for being here this morning. It's great to see everyone, colleagues, staff, and students. It's just great way to start today. And as Rich said, I've been involved with Dunwoody here for a number of years. My business partner back here, Bill Reamer, helped me get going with Dunwoody, and it's been a great relationship. So, leadership, I've asked to speak about leadership, and I was thinking about this, and there's just so many aspects to leadership, right? It's a huge topic. It's a complex topic. I just did a quick check. There's over 20,000 books on leadership that you can buy right now that are in print. And if you go back, there's another 10,000 that you can order, all right? So I'm thinking, what can I possibly talk about that hasn't been written about, already talked about, that might be of interest to you and something I know a little bit about? So the thought process I went through was, I don't just want to talk about leadership. I want to talk about great leadership. Because I believe that we're at a point we need great leadership in every part of our society. In our colleges, in our high schools, in our grade schools, in government, wherever you look, we need great leadership. And I think there is an absence of great leadership. I think we really, really need it. So I'm going to focus on a couple of aspects that I think that really relate to great leadership. Now, when you talk about leadership, it's this whole set of leadership competencies. If you're going to be a leader, things you need to be good at. I'll jump ahead here. These are just some of them, okay? We talk about a complex topic. Start off in the left, strategic agility, right? You've got to be able to set the strategy for the company. Go down part where you need a vision. You've got to have a vision, you have to have a mission. You go all the way down to execution, conflict management. You've got to be politically savvy. You've got to make good decisions. You've got to be able to plan. You've got to be able to hire the right people, motivate the right people. It's pretty daunting, right? To be a good leader, all of the things you have to be good at. There are models that say there's more than 100 of these. Okay? I just picked some representative ones that I thought were important. So being a good leader is tough enough. Being a great leader is another element. So you have to be good at most of these things. I think sometimes we overcomplicate the discussion, but you've got to be good at a lot of things to be a good leader. But I want to talk about being a great leader. And to me, great leadership starts with passion. It's around passion for what you're doing, what your organization's about, whether you're a project leader, whether you're running a nonprofit, whether you're running Dunwoody, whether you're running a business, whether you're in a government role leading part of our government system. If you don't have a passion for what you are doing, you are not going to excel at it. I think that's just a fact. You can be very good. You can be very good. But I don't think you will excel at it. An interesting study, all of us know that if we follow our passion, if we're doing something we really, really like, we're probably going to be really good at it, right? Assuming you have the right skills. You have to have the skills and everything else. This is an interesting study that was done. So on the left side, there's 1,500 people in this study. And the left side, 83% of that 1,500, they decided, this is early in their career, they were going to follow their passion, what they really cared about. Sorry, I got this backwards. They were going to follow the money on the left side. They were going to make sure they got into a career, they would pay well, and then sometime later on, they were going to try to figure out, okay, maybe I've got enough money, I'll go do what I really, really want to do. Right? That's the left side. On the right side, these are people who said, I'm not going to worry so much about the money. I'm going to go figure out what I really, really want to do, what I'm really, really good at, and I'm going to go do that. Okay? So those are the two columns. 20 years later, these two authors revisited this same group of 1,500 people. What do you think was the outcome? Who do you think was probably the happier out of this group? Who thinks the people going after the dollars were the happier of the group? Not too many. Most people think the happier group is over here? Over here? Got it. How do you think it did financially? Who thinks the people going after the money side did better financially? Not so many? Over here? You guys are way too smart for me. Right here. This is the results. So the people after the money, these 1,500 people, 20 years later, there were 100 people who were millionaires out of this group. One of those was in the ones who went after the money. The rest of them were the ones who went after the passion. Interesting study, right? Because we had a lot of studies done about happiness where you go for your passion. And there's not been very many done on the financial side. So this is just about careers. I believe the very same principle applies to leadership. There's no reason it wouldn't. But you don't find a lot written about this. When you look at most of the competencies and the models they talk about leadership, it's around all those other things I talked about, right? Strategy and decision making and developing people. Those are all important. They're very important. You cannot be a great leader if you can't do those fundamental things. But my premise is, if you follow your passion and you develop your skill set, then you will be a great leader. You have the potential to be a great leader. And I think that's really what those of us in this room aspire to. We've either done it in our past, or we're aspiring to do it in our future. And you can lead all the time. You don't have to have a leadership position to lead, right? You can lead all the time. You can lead in your schools, you can lead in your community. Leadership takes many, many forms. Sometimes we think about it as more of a position, and sometimes it is. But you can be a leader wherever you are along the spectrum. When I talk about passion, I think I probably should define my definition of passion just so we're on the same page, because to me, passion is something you get up in the morning and it drives you forward. You're thinking, what can I do today better than I did yesterday? How can I maybe connect better with a customer in my business? How can I maybe look at what we can do here at Dunwoody, and an example here in terms of a program or some aspect where we can do better in the college. It's get you up in the morning and you're thinking about what you can do better. And when you go to bed that night, you're thinking about how did I do today and what am I going to do better tomorrow. It is a passion that drives you. Now, there's a concept of fear sometimes too, right? Fear can also drive you, but that's from a different perspective. So my definition of passion, when you think about it in your own perspective, that's what I'm thinking about. And when you are in that position, what happens? A lot of things happen. It's a very, very powerful tool. First of all, it produces energy. We've heard on the campaign trail from Trump about energy and lack of energy, and I was just reflecting on that when I was thinking about this. But when you have passion around what you're doing, not only do you have energy, your entire team has it, right? It just generates energy. And you know it. When you're in an organization that's got a passionate leader, and there's passion throughout that organization, you feel it. It's almost measurable. And when you don't, you can also feel that. It also drives vision. A lot of us, you know what we want to do. We have a vision for what we want to accomplish as an individual, as a group. That vision comes to life. Passion fuels that vision. You can write all kind of good words. You can have all kind of teamwork, putting your vision and mission together. But passion is what really drives it. And as a leader, if you have passion, your organization has it, it makes it much easier for you to accomplish your vision. Because everybody is driving in the same direction. Tremendous amount of energy and vision. And it ignites others. It's hard sometimes when you're a leader. You don't want to pull people along, right? You can, but that's a pretty hard thing to do. But if you have passion, and you've got the right vision, you create the energy, and that energy just goes throughout the organization. Also increases your influence. When you are in a situation where, particularly if you have a tough challenge, right? If you've got a situation where things are difficult, you're moving through a tough transition in your organization, if you have passion around that, people listen to you. People connect with you. Okay? You're not just saying something because you think it's right. You obviously got to think it's right. But you're saying it because you believe it. You're going to make it happen. Right? You're going to find a way to overcome whatever obstacle is in your way. You're going to make that happen. And that influential element within your team and beyond the organization just grows exponentially when you have that kind of conviction. It also opens a lot of potential. Sometimes when you are in the middle of either a great opportunity or solving a big problem, you don't always see some of the opportunities and potentials around you. When you come at that from the standpoint of, I'm going to succeed no matter what. I'm going to make this happen no matter what. I'm not going to let anybody or anything get in my way. All of a sudden, possibilities start to come up that you wouldn't normally see. So it opens other doors and other potential to your organization. And I think that's one thing that I probably didn't think about this enough until I did some research for this talk. And I have a couple examples I'm going to share with you in just a moment that relates to this topic. How do you find your passion? Some of us were lucky enough that you may know at a young age you may know. Some of us it takes a while. For me it took a long time. I had a lot of different jobs. I liked them. I did pretty well at most of them. But it wasn't until I found what I was really, really passionate about that I think I was able to really excel. So how do you find it? Some of you feel like you already know it today. Some of you still working on it. Some of you may have multiple ones, right? I have a friend that's on their 4th career. And they've been passionate about every one of them. It's amazing. But not everybody is not that easy for all of us. And to me, it takes work. It takes some work to figure out what you're really passionate about, what you really care deeply about. So it starts with you. You got to spend a lot of time thinking about it. Thinking about who you are, what you want to be, what motivates you. You got to experiment. I've held probably 15 jobs in my career. And I took a lot of different ones because I wasn't quite sure. I liked this, but I wasn't quite sure. I'd take the next one, look at that, experiment. It worked out for me. I think it would work out for you. You got to look far. It may not be close by. It may be something that's a far reach for you. So you've got to think about other possibilities, things that you might not even relate to. You might not have anybody in your sphere that has been in that place. But that might be where your passion is. You got to think some more. You got to come back to yourself. Always looking at what's important to you. And you also got to look really nearby. Sometimes it's right in front of you. It's right in front of you and you just didn't know it. So finding your passion, it takes time. You're going to stumble sometimes. But I know for everybody there is a passion and you can find it. And when you connect with that, that's where your leadership potential really starts to come through. I want to share an example with you. We had an opportunity in one of our businesses. It happened to be in the medical device field, and we acquired a medical device manufacturing facility from Medtronic. Happened to be located in Michigan. And this was going to be a challenge. We were buying a plant, so we were going to supply the product to them. We had to prove to them that we could run the plant better than they did. Okay, Medtronic's a very good company, right? We had to improve delivery, we had to improve quality, we had to launch their products better than they were launching them, and we also had to make some money. We had to pay off, we borrowed a lot of money to make this acquisition, so we had to do that. And we had to also, the team of people who were working here, they had gone through multiple ownership changes, and they thought they were going to lose their jobs to Mexico. There'd been this big threat that they're going to move everything to Mexico and shut this operation down. So we had a lot of people very worried. So we made this acquisition. I was extremely passionate about it for a couple of reasons. First of all, we were in healthcare. We were making products that save people's lives, which I really, really loved. Number 2, we had Medtronic as a client, which was really cool. Number 3, we had a lot of people who were extremely motivated to make this work, right? And we also had to prove to the non-believers of Medtronic that we could actually do this. This little company from Minnesota can actually pull this off. So it was pretty challenging, pretty fun. We got the team together day one, and we talked about the things we had to accomplish. But mostly we talked about where we were going. And we were going to take this little plant in Michigan that thought it was going to lose every job it had, and we were going to turn it into a leading medical device company. We were going to design products for companies, we were going to perform like nobody else, and we were going to be the king of the hill. That was the vision we had, that was the passion that we shared. And in a short amount of time, I mean, this was a matter of days, it seemed like, probably a little bit longer. That passion went throughout this organization. We had about 300 employees at this operation. And we led with passion. We talked about it. We told them how much money we borrowed. We told them how much we had on the line. We told them that if we didn't perform, we really had, there was a cliff, right? If we didn't do it quickly, it was game over. And people rallied around that vision and that mission, and that became an extremely successful company. We sold that, go a few years forward, we grew the business, we achieved our mission, we sold that business. That's why I could spend a fair amount of time here in Dunwoody with you guys, so it was a great success. But it was the passion that we had. But I believe that we had a good plan, we had a lot of good financial people, we had lots of help, okay? There were many, many things that had to come together to make this successful. But I do believe that had we not had that fire in the belly, that passion around what we were going to do, we probably would have worked out okay, but we would have never had the success we had. So I am a firm believer, you start with your passion, you find it, and you lead with it. And when I talk about when you lead with your passion, I'm talking about you talk to people about it. You talk to people about it. It's important, right? We all want to be motivated. We all want to be part of something that's significant and that's meaningful. And I think as leaders, we often don't do that. We think we've got to be strategic, and we've got to be confident, and we've got to make decisions, and yeah, we have to do all those things. But most importantly, people have to know where you're going, what you want to do, how they can help, how they can be part of that, and that you care deeply, that you are extremely passionate. I think it's a very, very strong factor in great leadership. So, my definition of leadership, this is it. You cannot be a leader if people don't follow you, right? There's all kinds of definitions out there. I've looked at about 30 of them. But fundamentally, you cannot lead if people are not right behind you, around you, following your direction, following your mission. That is the definition of leadership. And we can complicate it all we want to, but that is really what leadership is about. And if you think you're a great leader, a friend of mine once said, turn right around. You have a team of people right behind you doing what you want them to do. And if you do, you're probably doing a great job. If you don't, you probably have some issues. And leadership, this is the intersection that I talked about in terms of passion and emotional intelligence. How do you get a team of people to follow you, to do the things that you would like them to do in your organization? But that, if you keep that image in mind, I think it's really important. I had my first great opportunity to be a leader years ago. I had this project, I just loved it, I was all over it, had this team of people working on it, we had this really strict deadline, it was a big project in our company. And I thought we were doing great. I really did. I thought we were about ready to deliver this great proposal to our senior management team. I went in to visit with my sponsor, and he said, how's it going? I said, it's going great. We're just about ready. We're going to kill you with this presentation. We get all these great ideas, and we're going to grow this product line. And he said, that's good. He said, how's your team feel? So, they're fine. They're done. He said, why don't you go talk to them? Go talk to them. Okay. I'll do that. Well, I went back, and I talked to them. Now, it's interesting because I just gone through a leadership development program, and we talked a lot about empathy and emotional intelligence and how you bring people with you. And what I found out was I was going way too fast. I was too passionate. I was too far ahead of my team, and I had not been taking some of their concerns and issues into consideration. I forgot to turn around and make sure my team was with me. So I did a quick reload, and that worked out okay at the end of the day. So let's talk about the concept of emotional intelligence, because I do think it's a really important concept. Emotional intelligence is kind of a thing that's gotten more popular of late. But in the middle of this is really empathy for others and self-awareness, right? Understanding how you as a leader relate to other people, how they're relating to you, how you make sure you're connecting with that team. And you have self-motivation, social skills. You need those things, obviously, to be a good leader. But I think a big part of it is really being aware of yourself and how you communicate and how you're reacting and having empathy for others. And my example I gave you before, I found out that a couple of our team members We were working days, nights, and weekends on this project because we had a really short timeline. And a couple of my team members, one of them had a very sick child I didn't know about. Another one was going through a really nasty divorce. I knew it was going through a divorce. I had no idea how bad it was. So here I am asking all these people to work nights and weekends and do all this stuff, and I didn't really appreciate what they were going through. So we took a step back, we made some changes, and that's what empathy, thinking about what the other person is going through on your team, in your leadership organization, being able to connect with that and thinking about that is really important. And when you connect, if you can connect with your past and lead with it, and you can also make sure you have this ability to relate to people and you're constantly aware of how you're influencing and affecting other people, the combination of things that is really a critical junction. Example of empathy, I was working for an organization, and we were working on a big project for a company, and we didn't do a very good job. At the end of the day, we just did not do a very good job. And a couple of different reasons for it, but so the leader of this organization, he comes in, and we're all expecting to just get chewed up, right? I mean, this is an organization that has high expectations. It's not the kind of organization that takes failure lightly, to say the least. And instead of doing that, he comes into our team, and he said, okay, we didn't succeed on this. We need to figure this out. Why did we not succeed? How do we succeed the next time? We were all stunned because we were just ready for this, right? We were expecting this is going to be a really, really bad day. And what he did was say, it's about things that we can do better. It's about each of us doing a better job. So we're going to succeed the next time. He took a position of empathy instead of one of condemnation, criticism. That team came back together. So we lost that particular customer. We won the next 9 out of 10 of those projects. Unheard of in our industry. These are huge capital projects for customers. All right, we lost one, and we won 9 out of 10. Our win rate in the industry is about 30%. So taking that position of connecting with us, making sure he understood where we needed help, where we had problems, where we had issues, motivating us for the next round, created such a winning environment in that particular organization. I remember that lesson so well. That sticks with me. You know how you go through life and certain things stick with you? Well, that one sticks with me. And he was one of those people who had the ability to set high standards. He had a lot of passion around his business, but he also had the ability to relate to people and make sure that the connection was strong, and he would go out of his way to help. And that's another key element. If you really are empathetic, you really think about that, you're really willing to help. So you can set high standards, you can be extremely passionate, you can want to take that hill tomorrow, and you can also still have self-awareness and empathy with people and bring that team along with you. And that's sometimes a hard thing to juggle a little bit, right? Because when you really, really want to win, and you really have this passion about what you want to achieve, doing this part too, I think that's kind of the yin and yang of being able to really do this well. It can be done. I've seen it, I've experienced it. And one thing I want to talk about, this whole concept of passion. I've worked for a couple of people who have had passion around what we do. One was a cheerleader. One got up every morning, and all we heard about was our mission, our vision, and how passionate and all this stuff. The other person never used the word. And you had to spend time with them to realize how passionate they were around our objective for our business. He never said it. But you knew, after spending some time, how passionate they were and what they were going to do to make sure we were successful. So there's all kinds of ways to have passion around what you're doing, exhibit that to your organization. I'm kind of in the mode of, let's just get this going, let's talk about it. But there's all kinds of ways to do that. So if you're not a big extrovert, that's great, that's fine. It does not really matter. As long as you have that passion, as long as you lead with that passion, as long as you connect with your organization, and you can bring these two concepts together and be very, very successful. In closing, I wish a couple of things for you. One, I hope you find your passion. If you haven't, it's out there. You can, you will. You might have 2 or 3 or 4. Fantastic. Take some time, think about it. Don't settle for less. it's really not worth it. And you will not be a great leader if you don't do it. I was well into my 40s before I found mine. So, and I was working at it, okay? And so it can take some time. And sometimes you got to do what you have to do, right? Sometimes you got to, you need to get the paycheck, you got to take care of the family. There are times like that. But seek your passion. When you find it, lead with it. Put yourself out there. Commit yourself. Commit the organization to achieving something that's great, something that's worthwhile. Sometimes that's a little hard because you are putting yourself out there, right? You are leading with your chin. Sometimes it's easier to kind of sit back, be a little bit more cautious, but I really recommend you lead with your chin. Vote that with a little emotional intelligence, empathy for people, bring that team together, and I guarantee you will have a blast, you will do great things, and the world will be a better place. Thank you.